Hello and welcome to Coffee with Dr. Carla. I'm Dr. Carla. This is Nati, and we are very glad to see you here today. Our goal today is to talk about some mental health related issues and hopefully start to break down the stigma surrounding them. So I know this morning when I walked in and I saw you, you said, let's play. And I'm like, yeah, let's play. Yeah. And you're like, no, that's a title for the things I'm working on. I'm like, oh, we're not going to be able to play. That's fine, whatever. So, but in all seriousness, I know that if I don't find time to play, whether it's, I was going to say at an adult level or child level, I think it all ends up being, very childish, because I think that's where it gets to be fun and, beneficial. But if I don't have play in my life, then I'm not a very fun person to be around. Right. So, why don't you share some of the things that you were finding around play and why you're trying to work things out so that we can start to provide more play opportunities for people around here. Yeah,
so play, as part of my interest in child and adolescent therapy, play therapy is really a big deal. It's a very useful approach in having young ones, at least, be able to process the things that are going on for them, because a lot of times young ones don't have the ability to verbalize a lot of what's happening, and so we find that through play, youth can really bring up a lot of their own challenges, whether it's through the game itself and the interaction, or if it's something physical that's happening for them, or if it's being able to just be in a safe space where they can do what they want to do and feel like they have the autonomy to process things in the way that they want to process.
Sure,
it.
And when they're little, those reasoning skills are not there. So
exactly.
You're not going to get a little one to say, well, I was feeling sad today because this and this happened to me, right?
Yes, yeah. But it also helps with social and cognitive development. And so we see a lot that happens through the use of play that helps us to identify beliefs, values, and how we respond to others. And then it also helps us with diving into that imagination piece, that creative piece, that other side of our brain that we don't necessarily tap into all the time. And especially as we get older, that time for play decreases more and more as more mature and adult-like responsibilities come into our lives.
Well, I'm sure it's perceived, at least the story or the narrative I heard was, you're just goofing around.
Yes.
You're getting older, you have responsibilities, you can't just spend your day goofing around.
Right. It's almost seen as a privilege in some situations too, right? Where it's like, I don't have time for that. I have to do this, and that today, right? And what I really enjoy about play is that we can start to bring it in different and in small ways. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of time that we offer over to it. Just 10 to 20 minutes a day for something play-like is enough to help us with our social processing and cognitive processing.
And I'd even contend that a smaller amount is possible too.
Oh, for sure.
Because, I think about my days, for instance, where, the first half of the week, I'm gone all day. By the time I get, when I wake up in the morning and I'm walking out the door, my grandkids are, starting to move around. Hopefully. Sometimes they get up way before then. But, and by the time I get home, they're sound asleep. So I don't get to play with them the way I would on other days. And so it maybe even small little bursts of stuff is very useful, because I'm thinking about this one time that they were up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I could hear them, and I'm like, I am so tired. And their mom was awake with them, so it wasn't like they were running the house by themselves. But they were killing the bad guys so they wouldn't get us. And so I'd listened to them for a while, and now it's time for me to get up, And so I'm getting up, and I get dressed, and I'm like, okay, we're still killing bad guys. So I sneak into where they were in the living room, and I started screaming, "I'm the bad guys, I'm gonna get you!" And I just tackled them down onto, and we just played. And then like 2 minutes later, we were done, and I had to go to work, right? And they're just hysterically laughing. "We need to do that more, Mama." And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, you already killed the bad guy. He's just got to go. See you later," right? But it was, I mean, maybe it lasted 5-6 minutes,
right?
But it was enough that I left, feeling different. I know they did. I mean, this happened about 6 months ago, and I'd still, when I think about it, lists really strong positive emotions, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, it's okay to be silly and be an adult. It's okay to be imaginative,
Exactly.
I wish there was a rule that you had to, otherwise you would lose your adult card or something.
Right.
But, yeah, society, unfortunately, doesn't embrace that thing the way perhaps they should.
Yes, and that's one thing I really want to incorporate now with this series I'm working on, which is that play can be incorporated at any stage of our lives, and that it's useful, it's a form of self-care, and it's also just a great bonding opportunity if you're able to do that with others in your family or friends, whoever else, and people that you relate with. Or it's also a useful tool for learning and taking and having those takeaways. Like even with you describing what was going on with your grandsons and that point where you had to end the play, they had to learn about boundaries and time management at that point.
Right.
And it's a subtle way for them to learn it in a way that doesn't feel like you're lecturing at them. And when you do that through play, you find that you're a lot more receptive to the information that you're learning.
Right.
So I really love that. I think it's a fabulous way of getting all of those, taking all those boxes for ourselves.
So I know that, the fact that we have a household that's multi-generational allows me a natural conduit for play.
Yes.
Right? Like, I would have to be pretty darn, nasty, isolating, etc., to not get sucked into or participate in play when you have, all these little people running around, right?
Yes.
But I also know that not everybody has that luxury, that privilege, right?
Yes, exactly.
So when we think about adults, maybe adults that, moms and dads that have the kids, they're exhausted, right? Mm-hmm. And if they can allow themselves to do some of that play with their kids, that's awesome. But what about those grown-ups who perhaps don't have kids at their disposal that would make a kind of an obvious segue? Like, what are some thoughts or tips you have around play for them?
Well, first off, I think one of the biggest things is that play can be very subjective, and so play can be something that you engage in, and whether that's with others or if it's a computer game, if it's a video game on your own, but it's something that you're engaging in that brings you joy, right?
Right, okay.
And so it can be anything from sports, like I know there's a lot of people that like to sign up for like their community organization softball teams, or through their jobs golf outing, right? And those are forms of play. But it's also not just through that. Coloring can be a form of play, and that's just more creative, artistic stuff, and crafting, just attending different events that force you to engage in certain types of activities that, again, bring you that joy, that sense of playfulness, that sense of your, childlike wonder. And so just having those times to tap into your inner child, right, that part of yourself that finds joy in certain things, and seeing, okay, what do I enjoy? What do I like? What gives me that sense of joy that I can walk away with, that feels like I'm playing and I'm engaging my mind in a different way?
Yeah. I'll just share probably the one thing that I feel like for me, and probably my family as well, that transcends like all of those different things, is dance party. So at any moment we could break out in a dance party. Maybe it's just music on a radio, maybe it's something on the TV that we're watching, say on YouTube. But it started because I was dancing, and when the time my oldest the 7-year-old was born, right?
Yeah.
He, as an infant, I would dance with him, and so dance party has continued. So as an adult, I would break out in dance party, and then as the kids have come along, we've taught them how to do dance party, right?
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't matter, and who cares? No one sees me. It's not like I'm going to get on So You Think You Can Dance or whatever
Right.
show that is. But yeah, it's just
That
this way
opportunity
of just kind of just
be.
bust out of, whatever constraints.
For sure.
Right.
I love it. My favorite is a dance party in the car.
Yeah.
I crank up whatever song I really like and just start moving, and that's a form of play for me.
Exactly.
And it's helpful.
So hopefully you all can bust out, a few dance parties or, kill off any bad guys at 4 a.m. See if they'll come later in the day. It's probably a whole lot more fun. So remember, you can change your thoughts, discover your potential, and transform your life by focusing on your overall well-being. So until next time, continue working on the best you possible. Bye.